Lucifer 2. 9 tracks, 41 minutes, the second studio album from the German stoner or doom metal band, released July 2018 via Century Media Records. Produced by Ola Ersfjord, recorded at Nikke Anderson's The Honk Palace studio. 2 promo tracks have been released so far: California Sun and Dreamer. This album also has a cover of the Rolling Stones' Dancing with Mr. D and comes about after a significant lineup change. Brendan.
This is beautiful, raw and dark rock and roll. I love the sound of this one. From the moment this one hit, I thought, yep, this one's for me. Really sort of light on in the production, but somehow really warm to listen to. Just a beautiful sound. It's kind of hard to describe again and hard to sort of pigeonhole with anyone else. A gorgeous vocal for me. I just love the vocals, and that's just so pleasing to the ear and also sits really well with the style. Hard blues-driven rock. It still gets really melodic from time to time. A lovely overdriven guitar sound. A really subtle drum mix. You know, that's sort of a mile away from what I'd expect for this kind of music, but for some reason, again, it's just really, really set in the pocket nicely. Some really nice subtle guitar solos and some really good layering of guitars. Songwriting's excellent. A lot of work's gone into the song structure, I find, on this one. They've done a really, really good job. So many clever bridges and breakdowns and all these songs. It was really, really well done. But for me, it's the vocal that steals the show. The whole album, for me, gave me sort of a Danzig vibe musically with a heart vocal. You know, it was pretty good. I love this one, and I'll be playing this plenty. I also gave this one 9.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Highlights were Faux, Pharaoh, Dreamer, Phoenix, and Before the Sun.
There's been a bit of a resurgence in this type of music over the past 5-10 years, and been hearing a lot of bands doing this type of thing, so they kind of bleed into each other, doing the same thing. The first initial bunch were cool, and then you get like the bands that are trying to imitate it. But thankfully, Lucifer managed to progress a little bit from the norm of that genre, and I'm hearing a lot of diversity and texture within this album. There's space within their songs and some great melodies and lead breaks. They create a really nice atmosphere too. Overall, it's some great songwriting and performances. There's an obvious Black Sabbath influence here, but they've taken that and made it their own. It's only if you like subtly listen, well, not subtly, but deeply listen, just like, that reminds me of Sabbath. I like how they can build suspense within their music. Reaper on Your Heels is a great example of that. There's a cool little instrumental, musical section in the middle. Not sold on their cover of Dancing with Mr. D, though. It did interrupt the flow of the album, and I do much prefer the original, but that's just my taste. The band title does not fit the music, though. I was expecting satanic death metal or something evil. If you're going to call your band after the Prince of Darkness, it needs to be evil. But this is, okay, cool, might be fun Halloween, but I wasn't getting that menace. Overall, 7 out of 10. The cool standouts were Phoenix and Reaper on Your Heels.
Okay.
Well, I've got a little bit from Mr. A and a little bit from Mr. B.
I don't want to be Mr. B.
Yeah, I'm Mr. B.
Who's Mr. Hey, who's dancing with Mr. D?
You can be Mr. D. All right. Well, I don't know what Mr. D means. Hang on, let me come back to you on that. No, I retract that.
Hands up for the D.
All right, Dave, my opening statement is Lucifer.
What could possibly go wrong when that goes to air?
Expected with a name like this, death metal. Was not expecting a female vocal. Haha, it surprised me. Again, guitar
There's
heavy.
your Halloween, Dave.
Guitar heavy rock, an easy listen. I liked it, but to me it wasn't anything overly different that stood out. Her voice is cool, had a heart vibe going on.
There you go.
Highlights for me were Dreamer, Phoenix, Reaper on Your Heels, and Before the Sun. I thought that was a really, really good song. To me, that was actually the best song on the album. Okay. That's their House of the Rising Sun song. To me, it had that build up. I really like that. I gave it 7.5 out of 10, so it was okay.
Well, my first note is let's take a trip to the 70s, because that's where this thing fucking goes straight to. This has some pretty vintage production, very fuzzy guitar, slightly muted drums, bottom heavy but warm mix. On top of that, though, is Johanna Sedonis's vocals, and damn, they cut through nicely, and they have a lovely, rich tone to them. I really, really love her vocal. Yeah. Fucking amazing. Nice layering of the organ in here as well. It sits back nicely in the mix and just fills out the sound wall. He heard organ and went, stupid. Mr. D, indeed.
I just chuckled.
He laughed.
All right, now it's a bit loose overall, but that suits the style. The performances are all fantastic, though. It's very well done. Bit of an early Black Sabbath vibe to this, which I think has been covered off. It's all very modern and clean and individual tones captured, though. But I also found touches of things like, obviously I got the Heart reference as well, but I also found a bit of Fleetwood Mac in there, too.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of diversity to this. It's very well crafted lyrically. That was really cool. The cover song I thought was pretty well done. It adds a bit of fun and energy to the album and is well placed, so I'm going to disagree with you. I think the album needed it, but at the same time I found it a bit confusing in the overall scheme of things. So I think what they were going for was the right idea. I don't know if that was the right track. Even though, like, as a song, it's well executed, I just don't know if it was the right track for this album per se. It's a bit of a grower. A few spins should get you locked in pretty well. The letdown with this, for how good it is the lack of serious diversity in the tempo for me. As such, I find myself tuning out a bit too often, and this feels like a longer listen than it should. There's plenty here to get stuck into. Some nice layering, especially with some haunting vocals mixed in here and there. Like, there was some really cool vocal layering going on to bring some atmosphere to the songs. But it just needed a bit more tempo change to spice it up for me. Individually, the songs are great. It's just as an overall listen, it doesn't grab me as much as I wanted it to. If you're really into this style of music, then this is fantastic stuff. And I know there are fans of the show that are really into this kind of music. If you're a more casual listener like myself, it may not grab you. And I feel kind of bad about that because there's a boatload of talent here. These are good songs, but it's not a great album of them. Good but not great. It all comes down to taste, and this is where mine finds me. I've really, like, a lot of people are talking about this album and this band a lot. I know that Jimmy's raving about it behind the scenes. But this, I guess this is kind of like, you know, you guys are raving, hearing about the Nightflight Orchestra, and I'm hearing all these things about Lucifer, and it's like, it's good, but not worth that much hype kind of thing. For all of that, I found it a struggle on repeat listens because of that comment, but it does close strongly. The album itself, it helps that along and brings it back to life. Like, the last track was really strong. That brought the whole thing back, and it made it easier to go into it again. Yeah. I just found that once you get sort of a few songs back into it, it's like the whole, you're sort of sitting there, okay, pedestrian again. Which is a shame, because if they had more pace diversity, that's all it needed was just some tempo changes, and it would have been fucking really, really good. In the end, though, it's still a good record. It's worth checking out, but I think it's one that will really only appeal to people who are already a big fan of the genre, and it won't really grab new people toward the band. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Phoenix, Faux, Pharaoh, and Aton were my standouts, so check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think.